Alrighty. Yes, thank you for the reminder, Jess. I had it ready to go. I just didn't put the right one on the screen. Oops, and we're also on the wrong thing. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're professionals. We know what we're doing.
Super professionals here.
Super professional.
Only professionals.
Totally pro. Hey, Ivy. How are you today? Lies. I mean, we're semi-pro. Okay, we're working on it. We're getting there.
Pro-ish.
How you doing, King? Good to see you here. King, you've reminded me. Little update on my channel slash this written I don't know what's happening with my voice. This written recap that I've been promising everybody. I've been feeling really good. Knock on wood. I don't know how long it's gonna last. But tonight, after work, I'm most likely going to go live and start that process. So I know it's probably going to be like hella late for a lot of you guys, but if you want to stop by, King, I don't know what you do with your life. I don't know what time it is. We're already famous, but thanks. Thanks for the extra push to want to be famous.
I mean, you know what? Getting bots, that means we are on the way to famous, right? Because remember, when we started the channel, we were not getting anyone. True. So this is pointing towards the right direction.
You are worth being targeted.
There you
go. Also, I'm curious. How is the volume for you guys, like live? Because when I went and watched our VOD, it was hella fucking quiet.
Yeah.
And I was like, were we really that quiet the entire time? Or does it not sound that quiet when we're live? Or are you guys just too nice to say anything? I bumped it up a little bit. Because it's weird, because when we all talk, we're all like in the yellow pushing red. But we were hella fucking quiet on the VOD. And I was just like, I don't understand what's happening here. Anyway, if we're too quiet, you guys just tell us. Maybe a little quiet, usually not enough to say something. Okay. It's kind of just like, it could be a little bit louder, but I can hear you kind of thing. I'll yell next time. Okay. Volume is good for me. Okay. I mean, as long as it sounds good. I was just concerned that it wasn't loud enough. Because for whatever reason, the VOD was really quiet for me. I was watching it on my phone and I was getting annoyed because like I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
So I put it on my TV and then like cranked it up to like 40.
See, I thought it was low, but on my phone, like any videos really kind of sound low. So I was like, it's probably just my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out mic too. Because like I was rewatching anally my musical performance and there's spikes on it. And I'm like, that does not sound right. And everybody's very nice.
Yeah. They don't want to say, hey, that kind of sounds like shit.
Right? You guys are too fucking nice. You're not fucking telling me. And I'm like, I'm upset. Like, I was going to call some people out, but like, I'm like, fine. Like, they're just being supportive. But like, I'm like, fucking tell me if there's spikes. Yeah, thank you, Nikolai. Just like fucking tell me. Don't you sound like Garbaggio? Like, fix your fucking shit. Yeah, get good. Exactly.
Get good,
like,
nerd.
I want to hear the criticism. Like, I want to be like, no, Fen, you sound good, but like, lower your fucking mic because you're continuing to spike. Like, you know, like while singing. And I'm like, I try to like turn around and not do like the high notes on the microphone, but like, I can't.
I mean, how many jack inputs do you have?
I don't have jacks. It's just a Cossack. Oh, for the mic, just one.
I mean, just one?
Yeah.
Alright. It's because there is ways you could have done that with the guitar and muting the main part so that you don't spike by plugging it directly to a mixer and then have that play directly so it wouldn't spike you.
Mm. I know that I can download like a few like softwares or whatever that like you can go a little bit more specific on like the whatever it is, the I don't know what the fuck the terminology is because I know fucking zero about that technical shit. So I'm like, yeah, those things, you know, the little spikes and stuff, those
Yeah, those
you can like
thingamabobs.
fix them.
It's a rabbit hole that never ends. Well, speaking of rabbit holes, we've gone down one very early in this discussion.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
No. You don't need to say sorry. Speak
Squirrel
Up,
family,
Mimsy
you know,
is about
chaos.
my only major complaint. Yeah, for whatever
Hello?
wow, words are hard. For whatever reason, Mimsy is always either too loud or too low for me. Either you are like making my ears bleed because you're so loud, or you're like whispering. And I keep all of your volumes the same. So I don't know if it's just like where you position your mic or if you just fuck with your mic all the time. But yeah, you're pretty inconsistent with sound.
Well, hello. Is it better now?
Get consistent. Get your
No.
shit
Like,
worked out. God.
Jesus.
You're supposed to be a fucking
Look.
professional.
I'm
Professional here. God damn it.
I'm a metal guy. I'm a metalhead still stuck in his emo phase from high school, so no. I'm not gonna be consistent. It was not only a phase, okay?
It was not only a phase.
Rage
All
Against
right.
the Norm.
Let's excuse me. Let's dive into this episode, shall we? There was quite of a lot. I feel like our episodes, well, I mean, we're only 3 episodes in, but I feel like the first 2 were like pretty slow. But for whatever reason, I just felt like this one had a lot of shit that happened. Felt
Well,
like
I feel like
last season
the
episode.
switches between like kind of like the two characters made it feel maybe like more layered than the other ones.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think probably why I felt like that too is because I knew we were switching to Alejandro, so I was like felt rushed to hurry up and finish that night. Whereas like in the previous 2 episodes, I didn't feel rushed to like complete a night. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was like
Don't
whatever.
make most of the
If we stop in the middle of this, then who cares? So I think that's why. I don't think that there was actually that much of a difference. I think it just felt different because of the transition. So we'll start out how we always do. In chat, as always, you are welcome to join us in the discussion and answer the questions as well. So we'll start with our favorite moment of the stream. And I'll start with Mimsy today.
I think I have 2 that kind of intervenes with one actually. The exploding fellow.
Yeah, that was a
As
moment.
harsh as it sounds, because it was something we didn't expect. Like we knew they were doing like trackers on people and all that stuff, but then they decide to put explosions on fucking people, and that took me completely by surprise, which again is going to be interesting because with the return of Alejandro, that's fuel. When Alejandro heard about that, he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Okay, that's how they're gonna play. All right. So obviously Alejandro can't hurt humans, but innocent humans he can't hurt.
Yeah, these people, like there's some, like Scarlet. that have been dragged into it and are like the kind of like, come si dicono le pedine, the those ones.
What did you just call me?
I can't. I didn't call you
What'd you say?
anything. The pawns? No, is it pawn? A pawn?
Yeah.
Like in
Yeah.
the
Pawns.
chest?
Yeah.
Like the stupid ones, the little, like the
Wow,
basic
the
ones.
stupid ones.
The stupid ones.
The basic
those
bitch ones on the board.
The basic bitches that die immediately. Those ones.
Yeah, they're pawns.
Yeah, okay, it's pawns. Okay.
Yeah.
The
So I think-
minions.
So the entanglement of those two things were what I would say was moment of the episode. And coming back as Alejandro was always fun.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. So real quick, I want to show you guys this clip because it's pertaining to what he's talking about, the exploding people. I thought it was funny when I was watching back when Finn says this. I felt like she was speaking right to me and being like, yeah, Jenna, that was a little much. So I titled it Storyteller Shame. But you guys can take a quick look at the moment there.
Yeah, I was not expecting an exploding person. I thought we were going to get ambushed or something.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that's graphic. Did you see my face? Like,
Oh my, like, I didn't even think, like, sometimes it's because I don't really try to, like, super pay attention to myself either because I want to be in the moment,
Yeah.
right? So it's not that I'm checking myself. And, like, what the fuck was that switch? I'm, like, kind of smiling, right?
you were talking in chat and then you like switched into like mode. Oh goodness.
And I'm like,
yeah, that was fucked up.
and now I'm looking at your and now
I was like,
I literally was like, yeah, no,
yeah.
that was fucked up.
Yeah, I was like, I felt that in my soul. I'm sorry, Finn.
No, that was just that is funny. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Perfect.
When I was watching it back, I was like, that's really funny because I don't even think she realized it or
I need
meant
to
it.
download these guys. Do you have them download the clips? No.
No, I mean I can download.
If you download them, I can start uploading them on Instagram.
Okay.
I forgot that we have an account. I completely forgot about it.
Why
And then I
I'm
was,
not
like,
in charge of the
scrolling
social
on it, and
medias.
I'm like,
that part's not
Oops.
my job.
no, that's my job, but I forgot about it because I forget about my own fucking Instagram. So imagine.
Yeah, I don't post on Instagram, like hardly ever.
But it would be
Oh.
cute as like all the clips are kind of like under a minute, like it fits exactly
Yeah.
the video format of the like thing, and I can just like put it there.
Easy peasy. All right, what about you, Steve? What was your favorite moment?
Definitely has to be the whole cute moment with Lizzie and Leo finally getting adopted and getting his pack.
Yeah.
And just the way that Lizzie handled it. It was cute and wholesome. And Sparta, it's like Sparta had been worrying about it for like the longest time. And then when it happened, she was all for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's an only childer.
Yeah, probably forever because I don't think Lizzie will ever have kids. Children. Childers. Whatever you want to call them.
One dysfunctional Ponchu family.
Yeah. He's got a whole bunch of cousins and aunts and uncles. But I'm wondering how like the rest of the pack is gonna respond to it. They're gonna be like, really, Lizzie?
About that too. And not just anybody, a cat that likes fashion.
And hangs out the Toreador.
Yes.
He's the what is it?
I would say the black sheep, but more
Black
like the
sheep.
black cat of the group.
Yeah. Parkouring cat. Yeah. What about you, Finn?
I honestly think that this episode had so many freaking amazing moments. Honestly, like, and it was like pleasurable for me to like. I wasn't here at the beginning, so I need to like rewatch the beginning of the VOD because of the like delivery that my parents fucking like brought me like right at the beginning. Of course, the timing always impeccable. But we like I don't know, like we had so many like cute moments that were like so like character building that honestly like I don't know, like I almost cried when you were like when we were having our Catalina and Nick's moment, like, and I was like, no, she wouldn't cry, she would literally not cry right now, like, but I was getting emotion as Fenice because I was like, this is so fucking cute and fucking wholesome. I fucking love this for me right now. But I also liked like our Alejandro reunion. You know, when we first saw him and we had that little like moment of like kind of like, hey brah, what's up? Sup dude? Sup dude?
Dude.
Duh, dude. So, but I think all in all, like that Catalina Nick's moment like wins for me.
Yeah, that I think you're right. There were so many things that happened that felt important.
Yeah.
That it's really
like
hard
the conversation with Colette too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I feel like all the conversation that Nick's had, like especially one-on-one, like were so like full. Like there was so much there. And it was like I felt like really good in like character building. Like I was like, that is fucking awesome. Like I was really excited as a player. Like I was thriving. Like I was like, this is it. This is like the fucking RP experience when you really get into like the character psychology and like the characters' relationships.
Yeah, and I like that we've kind of changed gears this season and we're doing more of that because that's what I really enjoy as well. And it's fun to see how there were like one-on-ones. There were multiple like one-on-one situations with all the characters in this episode. And it's interesting to see like the relationships and the interactions, and it's like you look at how like Colette and Nyx interacted with each other one-on-one, and how it's like it's very clear that they've built this friendship with each other over time. They trust each other, they're like relaxed around each other, and like yeah, they were there to like talk business, so to speak, in the sense of like this ghoul stuff. But then, like, it, like, seeped in, like, this stuff with Adelaide. And it's, like, that showcases, like, the kind of relationship that they have. You know what I mean? That,
and
like...
also the layers. Layers of a character.
Right. And, like, Colette's, like, teasing Nyx and being like, yeah, okay. And I totally forgot to have Colette check to see if you texted Adelaide. I was like, fuck!
We need... And, like, I need it. But, like, I'm going to... like follow up on that, and I'm gonna be like, you lost the bet.
Like I did it.
Sorry, I did it. And now I'm gonna call her.
Ooh.
Yes.
Can I call you sometime?
I was thinking, Jenna, that like what we can do, because like I was thinking about the logistic, and I think like it's maybe better for us to like do it in DMs, and then like we'll just pace the conversation when
that's fine.
Done.
We can do that. That's totally fine. But yeah, so it's like I like to see that those like relationships and conversations and how our characters interact with each other, how your characters interact with the NPCs that I create, things like that. And it's really cool to see that. And I'm just happy that we are doing it. And I feel like this episode, I feel like we kind of really settled into that. and it wasn't like, I don't know what to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like that this time. Whereas, like, the first 2 episodes, it was still kind of like,
well, we were settling into it.
Yeah. Like, and you guys were, like, kind of relying on me a lot still of, like, lead me, Jenna. Like, lead me on what my character should be doing. Whereas, like, this episode, I got to the point where I literally had to stop you guys because I'm like, stop. Like, I'm taking back control.
Don't have time.
Yeah.
We don't have time. Like, we can't do this right now.
Yeah, so it's like, it's nice to see that, you know, we just 3 episodes into, like, this major change of how we're doing it, because it is a lot different than the first season that you guys have already taken off and are showcasing your characters in the way that you want to. So that makes me really happy to see that happening. I don't think I can pick a favorite moment. There were too many moments that felt like my favorite, like just all of them, like this whole episode. I really enjoyed it, and
same.
I think start to finish it was just really solid, and there was so much important stuff that happened and important conversations, and I don't know, it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like you said, like after this session, like I was like, that was good.
Yeah,
like I am really freaking happy about.
Like, I want to do that every time.
Yeah, I want to do this every time.
Yeah, same. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really happy with how the session turned out. So, and I'm really happy with
stealing the car
story.
keys from Alejandro was pretty funny too.
Yeah,
no, there were like funny moments, lighthearted moments where like you could see that again, these kindred are people, they have a life, and like, you know, it's not all about like disaster and like the immediate like danger of like the threat that we're facing. It's like also like that camaraderie that like kind of like, you know, we can find the hilarious moments or like the funny moments amongst like situations, you know, because we have built that relationship amongst us. And I feel like it just feels more real, like this time around. You know?
I agree. Yeah, because we're seeing more. Duke looks so fucking derpy right now. Can you guys see him? Okay, you can see him.
Yeah.
His one ear is like that. Sorry, I saw him on the screen and I got distracted. Fucking derp face. But I don't even remember what I was saying. I don't know. But
I was just saying that it feels more real because like we're not just focusing on the action.
Right, and you're seeing more of like their lives and just the everyday, you know, life of what they're going through.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's what like you relate to.
Exactly. And that's why I was pushing so hard for us to kind of transition this season into that, because that's how we make characters relatable. If we make them where people can watch and relate to the things that they're going through, like Nyx, because she's got this crush on somebody and she doesn't know what to do and she's never felt this way, or like, you know what I mean? It's just like shit like that.
She hasn't felt this way in forever, and it's like, you know, that's real.
That's relatable.
That's real. Yeah, and relatable. Like everybody went through that.
Yeah, and then even like with Nyx and like how she is with Catalina, that's relatable as well. It's like you have this person in your life that is playing this incredibly important role. They're really inspirational to you, and you know, you look up to them and things like that. It's like that's super relatable. You have the situation with Lizzie and Sparta where he's like, I lost my family and I want to be a part of something, and you know, like, and you've got this whole thing. It's like these are all incredibly relatable topics that when you're watching this unfold, you're like, I can relate to some part of this, you know what I mean? Like I've experienced something, or I can relate to these feelings and things like that. And it just creates the opportunity for people to relate and connect to your character instead of just being like, oh yeah, that's a cool character, or I like that player, so I like their character by default because I like them as a person, you know, because that happens too, where, you know, it's like people just like your character because they like you, but they don't necessarily connect with your character on any type of level. But I think one thing, if I have to pick one thing I think that was my favorite was the moment with Nyx and Catalina, because Catalina is such an important person in the city, and she is like in our chronicle. And obviously I've always played her as this like hardcore, fierce, like badass, takes no bullshit, and you know, this like rigid, she seems distant and cold kind of. And that's why I played her the way that I did with Nyx, because I don't want her just to be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's
To showcase
no
the other side.
exactly, and there's no way that all of these kindred that have lived in this city so long would adore her in the way that they do, like Ashley and Penelope, which we saw in their performance. They have that deeper level of a relationship. There's no way that they would get to that if she was just cold and rigid and distant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, I remember very, like, clearly, like, the event that Ashley threw.
Yeah, Desire.
And that, like, you really, like, hammered on the fact that, like, we were seeing a different side of Catalina.
Right.
She almost seemed like a different person from what, like, our coterie experienced.
Yeah.
Like, her very stern, commanding, like, you know, no bullshit, like, I'll fucking, like, snap your head, like, in one blink before you even, like, say anything type of attitude. And, like, yeah, I thought that that moment was so special. Again, like, me, like, as Venetia, like, I had to, like, hold on to my gully wits and, like, just, like, breathe and, like, be like, no, we're not gonna tear up.
Yeah.
Because, like, this is, like, Nyx wouldn't.
She
like,
wouldn't
she just
cry,
would. Yeah, she wouldn't cry right now. She wouldn't. But, like, that was a very touching moment for me as a player. Like, for sure.
Yeah, and I think, too, if you go back and watch, you can even hear the emotion in my voice. Like, it was, I think that we both sort of realized, like, this is an important moment for Nyx as a character, and having this moment and this true wholesome moment. It wasn't forced, it wasn't, you know, it was authentic and genuine from both sides. And Catalina, I mean, I think that when a leader has the ability to be vulnerable in front of people that they're leading and show that vulnerability to them, and because a lot of leaders see vulnerability, and a lot of people in general see vulnerability as a weakness. Like, I can't show people that I'm vulnerable, because then they'll think I'm weak. They'll think I'm not a good leader. They won't listen to me. They won't trust me. So I have to be this like rigid, hard, strong. And it's like, well, no, I think that a leader that has the ability to show that they are vulnerable and that you can relate to them, that makes them even more powerful, because you connect with them on a different level, and you still respect them as a leader and look up to them and are inspired by them, but then now you can relate to them. So it makes that bond even stronger between you and them, as them as your leader. So I think that was an important moment to sort of play her that way, so that Nyx could see, like, and I mean, she even said that at one point. She's like, you don't need to be afraid of me. Like, I'm on your side. Like, you won me over, like, a long time ago. Like, you know what I mean?
And, like, you know, like, I was, like, again, I thought about wording myself as best as I can in that situation, and not, like, you know, be Fenice, like, but be Nyx in that situation. And, like, I was like, yeah, Nyx would probably like say that, like, yeah, you're fucking, like, scary, but, like, I really respect you, and I do look up to you, and I do thrive to be more like you. You know, and like, yeah, no, it was just a beautiful moment. It was really, like, a really beautiful moment. I really I'm really happy that happened, and that I chose to, like, take that moment, because I was, like, going to maybe do it next time, but I was like, we're here already. Like, let's let's do it. I
Let's
had
just
already
fucking do
like
it.
told
Let's go.
Colette, let's
It was
freaking
perfect.
jump, you know?
Yeah.
So like I feel like even like I was in the character so much so that I was nervous. Like I don't know if you like saw me, but like I had to like settle a little bit because I was like, okay, I wasn't necessarily ready, but Nix is not ready either.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
It worked.
so it worked.
Yeah. No, I think for me, I think that that's probably my favorite. I think it was important on a lot of levels. I think the contrast of her moments before with Alejandro and how she acted as typical cutthroat Catalina, and then her transitioning into how she was with Nyx, that I think was really good just for her as a character too. You know what I mean? Because obviously the characters that I'm creating are equally as important as you guys. You know what I mean? They're equally a part of the story as your characters. So it's important for me to take those moments to develop them as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's fun for us as players too to have the opportunity not only to explore the relationship amongst us as a coterie, but also like see what we can do with the like characters that you fucking like created, because they're like great characters with a lot of depth. And you know, it would be fun to like create those those bridges between us and these NPCs, so that like people like get to know them too, because if not they're just like NPCs,
They're just
and
there
then they're just
randomly.
like this flat thing that is there randomly for like that one function, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not an interesting story that way.
Yeah. They're not interesting stories, like as characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. And that whole speech with Alejandro, I just pulled that shit right up out my ass because I didn't know he was gonna go and meet Catalina. So I didn't have a clue. I'm like, what is Nyx gonna say? Which is actually kind of funny because part of what she said was stuff that I was gonna have Colette say, but it didn't feel right. Like once he was finally there, I was like, I don't want Colette to hound him. I would just want this to be like old friends reuniting.
Yeah.
She wants to make him feel welcome. You know, she doesn't want to be this like hard ass. She knows who she is. Because originally I was going to have it just because of their history with each other, of her being like, you know, you're going to respect me and kind of demand that respect from him. But I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like, I think she's past that. You know what I mean? She's sort of past that as who she is as this leader in the city, that she's not going to like sit there and be like, you need to respect me. She's just going to expect to be respected. You know what I mean? Yeah. So some of what Catalina said, I was going to have her say, but it didn't work. I was like, nah, I'm not going to have her do that because it didn't feel right. But then when he was like, well, I want to go talk to Catalina, I was like, okay, maybe I can use some of what Colette was going to say and frame it in a different way. And then it just sort of worked perfectly. But yeah, basically 98% of what Catalina said was just right there on the fly of me reacting and being in that moment. And it's so funny for me because I don't realize this is happening. I play probably at least 5 NPCs every episode, if not more. So I'm constantly switching between personalities and behaviors and things like that. And it was funny watching back, and I watched through that part with Alejandro at the end and Catalina, and I'm like, wow, I can really see me change. Like when I was playing Catalina, I'm like, my demeanor of just how I was sitting, my face, like my voice, like everything about me was like exuding Catalina compared to like when you look at when I was playing Colette or playing like Aubrey or whatever, or even like Roman, and I'm just like, wow, I don't realize that's happening. You know what I mean? In the moment, I don't pay attention to like, I'm just, you know,
just get in the
doing
role.
it. And I was kind of like, holy crap, that's kind of like weird to watch yourself kind of like switch modes and go into like kind of this character mode of, oh, I'm Catalina now. I have to be this way and talk this way and act this way and whatever. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool to like actually see it happening. And I'm happy that my brain can do that because I think I would have a really hard time being a storyteller if not, because I would have to switch modes so many times and my brain be like, meh. Which sometimes it is like, meh.
Brain fried.
One thing that I wanted to touch on is I noticed this about a lot of the characters that I have been creating lately. They're funny. Like, they're all funny. They're all, I literally, I was thinking about this, the night of the recording. So Sunday night after when I was rewatching it, I was like, all of the NPCs that I've created this season, just this season, none of them are serious characters. They're all like silly and sarcastic and funny and witty. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, why am I doing that? And I think it's just because like this season feels so different that I'm like, I don't need all of these like serious, hardcore characters. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there'll be some that like kind of come up here and there because the situation will call for it. But yeah, they're all silly.
And it works though because it's all character driven, and if you have just it's harder to interact and have those moments with the serious character than it is with like a silly character, like you said.
Well, and I feel like everybody kind of has their like kind of stupid, silly side, no matter what. Like you can be 600 years old, but like you're probably at a certain point like gonna do some derp shit because like unfortunately nobody is perfect.
You're gonna have
like
some
you
quirks.
can be unnatural as you want, but you can always find something that can translate into a lighthearted moment rather than like a fucking intense thing all the time. Again, it just like I think it's the extra layer that we didn't have time to explore before.
Right.
Exactly.
Because everything was serious. It was all business all the time.
Yeah.
So people didn't have time to like joke around because then people would just be annoyed. They'd be like, really? You're going to joke right now? Like, while this is happening? Like, it would be inappropriate, you know? But anyway, I just thought it was funny. Like, thinking back to like all of the different characters that I've made just this season. No, I'm not talking about like old NPCs that are just reoccurring or returning. I think the only one that hasn't been like silly per se is Adelaide, but that's just because that's not how Adelaide is. But she wasn't serious either. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly. That's what I'm saying though. Like everybody has their like lighter side.
Yeah,
like,
she
you don't
was
need
just
to be
like
a fucking stand-up comedian.
lighthearted.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Scarlett. Like
Scarlett
is gonna fucking kill me.
Scarlett's fucking hilarious.
I've been thinking about like how to have a conversation with this person
I'm
regarding
excited for that.
Like, you know, the kindred. Like, and I'm very excited about that. I'm very fucking excited about that.
She's gonna go into that like mode again where she's gonna take everything like super literal. She's like, wait a minute.
That's why I'm already thinking about how to like counteract that because I have dealt with that type of energy for a long time. And for me, it's very hilarious. So like the thing is that like you guys like that type of Virgo energy.
Yeah, because that's me. Okay, guys, Scarlet is me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That type of like
Cat's
Virgo
out of the bag.
energy, like most of my friends have a strong Virgo. Like most of my closest friendships are either Virgos like you, or they have strong Virgo energies in their chart. And I'm like, I see you.
You're like,
the way to,
I know
like,
you,
cut
Scarlet.
Your bullshit, yeah. To cut your bullshit is like find it funny and find the humor in it.
Yeah.
You know, and like kind of deactivate that. Because like the main reason you guys do that is to get under somebody's skin. And if you don't let them, like it kind of is useless. It just becomes like a big, like, you know, laughing thing, and then like they kind of give up.
Yeah.
Because they're having fun and they don't feel like they have to do it anymore.
Right.
So like, I love it, but I can see how it can get under people's skins.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just, I'm always like, whenever I'm hanging out with people like that, I'm like just eating my imaginary popcorn and just seeing the like delirium like scatter around. I love it personally. But yeah, if you can't deal with that, you can't deal with it.
Oh, and there's a lot of people that can't.
Oh yeah, I know.
I can't wait for Scarlet to meet Alejandro.
Oh my god.
That's going to be fun.
That is going to be interesting.
But yeah, that whole thing with Scarlet and Max, that was 100% Jenna. And I have had those moments in my life with people, and they get mad and they get frustrated, and then it's like it gets them even more like flustered, which is so satisfying for me, because I'm like, oh yeah, are you upset?
It's working, bitch. I'm winning.
You don't even know what I'm doing right now.
The evil plan comes together.
Oh my god. So yeah, that was 100% Jenna. I think Scarlet is my alter ego in our story.
I love it because like, yeah, I'm excited to work with you as my goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Use me. Abuse me. But no, Scarlet is fun. Okay. But no, she's going to be a fun little character. And I'm so happy that she happened.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is, she, like...
Honestly, Jenna,
it could have went completely different, you know?
To, like, have a moment, and chat, sorry, but we're going to have a moment of appreciation for Jenna here. Because honestly, like, juggling all of this, like, we think about it, and it's, like, already, like, a good amount of, like, if you get, like, serious about it, about RP and whatever, it's, like, it's your baby. It's a part of yourself that you get to express, and it has its own life. And, like, it can get deep.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's acting. And, like, if you want to be a good actor, like, you gotta get deep. There's no way around it. But like you need to get deep with a whole world, and like the fact that like you're so in touch with it and you did such a good job at like building it, like it's honestly like amazing. And
really,
like
done a wonderful job.
Yeah,
thank you guys,
because like you need to have like a lot of like fucking focus and passion, and like a lot of like adaptability and quick wits, and like it's not a common thing. Like it's very special, and like I think like again, gushy moment, but you know, I
appreciate it.
To, like say it.
Yeah, I mean I appreciate it, and I do like this. I thought this was just gonna be something cool and fun that we did, you know, and obviously it is, but it's become like so much more for me, you know, and I really do, like, I love these characters. I put so much thought and effort into them, and making the world that your characters live in feel alive, you know, so it's important to me, and I'm glad that, you know, you guys can see that and it translates. So thank you for the gushy moment. It is definitely nice.
We love what you have built, and if it wasn't for you, none of this would have happened.
Well, I'm happy that
like, I know that I introduced the idea, but like ultimately, like, you're doing it. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome too. Because obviously I said this from the very beginning, and it sounds like counterintuitive because obviously this is the world that I created. But I think I said at one point to you guys something, I can't remember how I worded it, but basically I was like, this is your world. I'm just living in it. And it's like, that's how I want it to feel. I don't want it to feel like the opposite. You know what I mean? This is Jenna's world, and my character is just living in it. You know?
Yeah.
And I hope that sort of has come together, and, you know.
Yeah.
Because obviously I wouldn't be able to do what I do without you guys either. So it goes both ways. You know what I mean? Like, it would be kind of boring if I was just like sitting here playing a bunch of NPCs by myself. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, it goes hand in hand. Like, I need you guys just as much as you need me. So it's, the appreciation is, you know, there for me as well. And you guys taking your characters seriously and putting thought and effort into them as well, and creating lives and stories so that I can then take that and make something. You know what I mean? So definitely appreciate you guys as well and the effort that you guys are doing. Jenna's World Party Time. Hey Ashley, how you doing? Thank you for the host. By the way, all of our things are named funny things. So whenever it pops up and says someone is risking exposure, that means that they're hosting us.
Yeah.
If you haven't picked up on that yet.
I figured, yeah.
And I think raid is like, so-and-so is leading a blood hunt when they like raid us.
Yeah.
So all of our follows and everything like that are all named stuff after like the vampire themes.
And wait, like, when are we gonna, just at the end of the month, right, reach like the enough hours?
We have to do 2 more streams. So this stream and after our next session, we will have met all of the criteria for affiliate. So hopefully by the end of the month, we will have that beautiful little sub button.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for all of the support. You got us there pretty quick.
Seriously.
It was just a matter of the fact that we only stream twice a week, but that's okay.
Yeah. It's more like the time. Because like everything else is fine. It's super fucking fine.
Exactly. So yeah, we should hit that by the end of the month. So I'm super excited. Okay. Let's talk about a few more things that happened in the episode. So a guy exploded. That happened. It's funny because he certainly did. I originally had planned that entire scene completely different. It was Christopher. He was the bomb, literally.
Nikolai.
I originally had planned that to go much differently than it did. And I was like, well, I want to kind of spice this up a little bit. So that's how I did that. So yeah, thoughts on the exploding man?
Took me by surprise.
Yeah, I think like the fact that it's so funny because like I guess like I'm reconnecting with Nyx. Like when I'm like in character, I'm in character, and at that point like I was like, well, I tossed a 1, so I'm going to purposely try to disconnect from what they're talking about and like focus on writing the thing. So like I replied before like the whole conversation was done. Like she was actually, I was actually like doing that. So I was trying to not pay attention. So like legit, I didn't pick up anything. Like the only person, like when you, Steve, like send that text message at Sparta,
Yep.
And like it were like something is sus, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like fine. Like there was probably like a mistake or some shit. I didn't hear like the name, like what was it, Joshua,
Justin, yeah.
Me, Fenice, didn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't hear it. I heard something else, like there was somebody's dead or whatever, but I didn't hear the name right. But anyway, I wasn't paying attention. So like whenever like the thing actually happened, and I remember, Jenna, you have one thing whenever there's something that is about to happen, like you have this little smirk.
Yes.
Oh, I have a lot of tells for when I'm about to do things. If you watch me closely enough.
Yeah. No, and I've been figuring them out. So like whenever you did that with your face, I was like,
it's about to hit the fan.
When you did that thing with your face.
That's what was giving it away when you started saying, Sparta, you're noticing he is very sweaty and he looks nervous. I was like, oh shit, she's about to do something.
Yeah, that flew over like my head. I was just like, oh yeah, no, he's nervous because like he's been on Adderall all night. Like makes sense. Like I've personally experienced it my first year here during my editing class because I was the slowest motherfucker ever. So I needed to stay awake for like 3 days in a row to finish my final.
So you're like, he's just tripping because he's on Adderall and he hasn't slept.
I know exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
Like you do get jittery, you get like crazy, you sweat like cold, like it's horrible. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Like you keep going, but it doesn't feel good. So I was like, yeah, that's what's happening. That totally feels right. Like, and at that point when like the fucking motherfucker came through with like a stack of shit, I was like, yeah, Jenna rolled that roll. Like it is what it is. I'm texting Adelaide, fuck it, like no deal with it. Like it's gonna be for the lols. We're gonna comment afterwards and everything is going to be fine. So genuinely I was surprised. So like my masochistic player side was like, oh, this is cool. This is like, she did a really good job because that was like a punchu, like that was not expecting whatsoever.
Same.
The reason I did that, and sorry, go ahead, Jess. Jess, I was gonna, my brain, Jess, well, I'll answer your question in just a sec, but go ahead, Mimsy, and add whatever you were gonna say in relation to that.
I think like, I liked it because it also gives like a small vision of that this can and will more than likely get gory at points, because we didn't really have that on season 1. We had that one situation with Levy, but it wasn't like freaking blood and guts flying everywhere.
Yeah.
But this time it shows that shit can get bloody. And not necessarily kindred bloody, but if you're in this cult, you're fucked. However, I did notice one thing with that whole scenario. No one took the folder. No one grabbed the info.
The folder.
True.
The
No
folder
one grabbed that folder
with all the information.
Of the building.
And that was something I was thinking when we were on our way back. No one took that folder.
Yeah, no, again, I wouldn't have even bothered about it.
No, I noticed, but I noticed, obviously, that, like, no character took the time to do that. But I feel like what would have realistically happened is one of Colette's ghouls would have grabbed it.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
if it was just us 3, then we would have been fucked. But there was like a whole team of people like to clear up. They would have had to like clean the fucking scene. So like they would have found it.
Unless a plant stole it.
And Sparta wouldn't have even thought about it. He was too busy dealing with you 3 all bloodied up and fire bulleted it. So he was like focused on that, so he wouldn't have thought about the folder anyways.
Yeah, but realistically, I feel like what would have happened is a ghoul would have taken it, because like she said, they would have had to clean that scene up and take care of the whole situation. So
but Yeah, I think like it opens up that world and it gives people the heads up that this can get gory at points.
Mm-hmm. So
And
the
gives an insight on
It
reason,
how
kind of like opens up
people
also
operate.
like the discussion like that these people like humans can be as scary as
yeah,
like fucking vampires.
absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
they're totally like willing to like sacrifice like other of their kind that are supposedly on their side with manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much like what Gendra do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they use their disciplines, but humans still have like charisma and like other techniques of, you know, mental manipulation and shit
Mm-hmm.
to like get people to do shit. So I feel like that's what's interesting about this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh cool, we're like seeing that like, yeah, there's that is very much happening, you know, in the real world without
Mm-hmm.
it being like of a supernatural cause necessarily.
Right. You're seeing that humans can be just as vicious. And
Mm-hmm.
there's darkness that lives in them just like there's darkness that lives in a kindred, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it definitely, I mean, and to bring it to a much more sad and realistic ass point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just make it an ass point real quick. Sorry. Is that stuff like that happens in the real world. You know what I mean?
True.
Sadly enough, it does. And
Yeah.
anyway, the reason that happened, the reason why that scene took place the way that it did is obviously the directive worked for him to show up. But you didn't, well, for one thing, he did exactly what you told him to do. You told him, I want as much information about this place as possible. And that's exactly what he showed up and gave you. You just assumed that he knew who the purist was and he was a part of the purist, and that you thought that the information that he was going to get you was going to be pertaining directly to the purist, which it wasn't. And it wasn't even like that by design, because I had already known that this was going to be a space that they like rented, and it wasn't going to be like owned by the purists. So you needed to frame the questions in the right way and things like that. So that's why he showed up with a bunch of random ass information about the building and the rental company and this and that and whatever, which did have little nuggets of important information. The reason it went haywire is because he remembered who you all were. And he remembered who Nyx and Sparta were. Because too much time passed with him sitting in the car.
Yeah.
With all of that awkward shit that happened. And then by the time that Max tried to wipe his memory, it wasn't enough for him to completely forget who Nyx and Sparta was. Or were. So he went back in the building, and then of course his buddies were like, dude, what the fuck, where have you been? And he's like, I don't know, these weird ass people. And then Justin was there because Justin is his buddy, and Justin is a part of the purist. He isn't. Chris honestly was just an innocent person that had nothing to do with the purist. He was just friends with Justin, who is a part of the purist. And then whenever Justin, he's like, I don't know, there was this like big fella and this really hot chick, and I don't know, they were really weird. And like I can just imagine him like relaying all of this information, and then Justin asking questions and then being like, wait, is this what they look like? And like, because he would have known who you were, and he would have had information.
Yeah,
and then Chris would have been like, oh yeah, that's totally them. Like, how, you know, and he probably would have been confused. Like, why do you know these people? And then that set off Justin and being like, these people were here. You know what I mean? Mm. And so the reason why shit went haywire is because it was a little bit of a punishment for things not going so well on your part with the whole situation, and things not being handled correctly with disciplines and things like that. Because that's the tricky thing with Kindred is, yeah, they can wipe your memory, but that power is limited. You know what I mean? So
you have to use it right.
Exactly. You have to use it strategically and use it correctly. And that whole bit was a little bit of a debacle. So that's how it transpired afterwards. You know what I mean? Of being like, you were successful in some ways, but you weren't in other ways. So this is the result of that. And that's why it kind of like went haywire there at the end. But yeah, so that's why Christopherson had to die.
And again, like,
Chris.
I think that is great. In a way or another, that is great. They're fucking killing humans, and it's not because of us.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is more fuel that you guys can sort of use against them. Mm-hmm. Like they're making themselves an easier target for other factions to come against them, not just the vampires.
And it's something we've talked about is turning them against each other, and we done it in character as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, I think everything that happened with Chris was important to happen. And yeah, it got graphic and it got kind of crazy with a guy exploding. Like, that's a bit intense, but you know.
Right? And then 3 frenzying vampires.
Yeah. I was like, this is going to be real interesting, because if Sparta would have frenzied, that whole situation would have happened a little differently. I mean, the ghouls would have been fine, and the ghouls would have, like, kicked into action and started, like, helping and things, but it would have been quite interesting, because Sparta likely would have ran out of the house. Because that's one thing with, like, fire, with a frenzy because of fire, usually, like, it's a fear frenzy, so you distance yourself from whatever that thing is. Mm-hmm. So you usually run away. So he would have literally ran out of the house and, like, been like, peace out, I'm leaving.
Probably through the window.
Yeah, he would have Kool-Aid through the wall, let's be real. But Jess, your question of are we ever going to see Max again? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I think right now his chapter is done. I think with the little thing I presented to him of his stores getting robbed and him leaving and taking care of business and shit like that, and then how Colette sort of ended things of being like, don't come back kind of thing. Like, not don't come back to the city, but like, I don't want to ever see you again kind of thing. And then Catalina being there to kind of like support that decision. That was kind of like final. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel so too.
But who knows? I mean, he might pop back up. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, he's part of the lore now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's going to be forever with us.
Yeah. We're going to forever remember his shit pigeons.
Yeah.
Like the shit pigeons.
May they rest in
pigeons are
peace.
going to be in the annals of our, like, New Orleans.
I mean, he's probably going to train new ones. He's gonna train new ones.
Like,
yeah, it's
an iconic moment. Like, honestly.
Yeah, he made such an impression that his shit pigeons are gonna be one of our emotes. So it's a pretty big impression to make for only being there for 3 episodes.
Gone but never forgotten.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna make you play both of your characters so you can get a little taste of what I deal with for 5 hours. Go ahead, have a conversation with yourself. See how it feels.
I think if Alejandro met Max,
he would probably punch Max in the face, like, within the first 3 minutes.
Nah, not even that. Not even 3 minutes, to be honest.
Like 30 seconds into like Max saying something, Alejandro's like, "Oh no, like shut the
Shut
fuck up." Yeah, Pancho.
Yeah. I'm surprised Colette never beat his ass.
Right? You know she wanted to.
No,
She has a lot more restraint than Alejandro.
Truth be told, now he's planning a pigeon army to shit on Colette's house. That's
She
the
will
truth.
kill you. She
Oh,
will
yes.
actually kill you.
It will find you, and she will kill you.
Okay, team, we got a new target.
We
Find
need that
Maximilian, dead or alive. Bring him
that
to
in
me.
an episode.
No problem.
She will just beat his pigeons. So she'll kill all of his pigeons, and then she will bring all
In
of their
front of
dead
him.
bodies to
Yes.
his house and be like,
Yeah.
"You're next, motherfucker."
I don't see Max coming back unless it is for a cameo or something like that.
For a who?
Max coming back.
Unless
Not
it's
like
for
a
a
cameo.
At this
Oh,
level, at
okay.
least.
I missed what you said. Yeah, I don't see him coming back. I think we kind of... It doesn't feel like he needs to come back unless it's just like a little moment or something that we want to do. But it feels sort of like I'm happy with how he exited. And I think it's hilarious that the next night both of his pigeons were killed by Ashley and Colette.
Yes.
Pretty funny. His pigeons didn't get the memo. I thought we were done with these things.
Poor apprentice.
Rip.
Rest in literal pieces.
Oops.
Too soon?
Too soon.
It was funny.
So Alejandro's back. Let's talk about that for a couple minutes here. How do you guys as viewers feel about that? Because I know we all discussed it and talked about it, so we all knew what was happening, obviously. But you guys didn't know what was happening, and I'm just curious to see, are you, I mean, obviously you guys can speak candidly with us. I want to know. These are important things for us to know. Are you excited that he's back? Are you disappointed that Max is gone because you were excited to get to know him? But you're like, oh, it's Alejandro, so, you know, I didn't expect to ever see him again. Yeah. Getting the gang back together. Yeah, we kind of left it open-ended for him to return. If we wanted him to return. So it kind of worked. Wasn't expecting it because I wanted to see how Max goes in the story, but it's good to see Alejandro. Yeah. I was curious to see, because obviously, you know, it is exciting when a new character shows up. Alejandro redemption arc. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Connecting to the deeper layers of Alejandro.
Should be
Which
Be prepared for
interesting.
riddles.
We talked about it, and I did comment on this, like, while we were, like, discussing this return. I was like, I'm actually really excited to see, like, the transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, we were saying amongst us, like, the mine and Spartus's kind of was, like, off stage because we skipped 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like you kind of like saw the result of like the 2 years of like working hard and like on establishing ourselves in the city.
Mm-hmm.
But Alejandro, like, we're gonna go through that because he just came back. He didn't have that like 2-year settlement time.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's something you guys will get to experience as well with us because it will be live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm really
there's
excited
a lot of
about
things that have been going on with Alejandro's life in the past 2 years that will more than likely be something that he will touch upon um within the story. Obviously, Colette got the brief of what the hell was going on, but in between there was a whole lot of shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's also other aspects you will see of Alejandro this time around. Um,
Arwen, I love you, but you can't be up here. No.
Oh.
Go down,
Oh,
honey.
shit.
She wants a TRETS.
Mm-hmm.
Go away. Go away, honey. No, 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 no. Sorry.
so yeah, there's a lot of story that's gonna be uncovered eventually.
And yeah, just to touch on Ivy's point of it felt short because Max was only here for a few episodes. I mean, obviously this was not something that we were planning. We weren't necessarily planning for Alejandro to come back. Maybe eventually, because we did sort of leave that open-ended that if he returned, there was the opportunity. But I think, and obviously I'll leave it up to Mimsy to share as much detail as to the decisions of why, but just to give you a blanket understanding of why is we just felt like Max wasn't really fitting as a character for what we were trying to do. And we knew that if we continued, it was just going to continue to be hard to get him to fit in the ways that we wanted things to go this season. So we had a discussion about it and kind of talked through it, all of that and everything. And then the decision ultimately ended up being, well, let's just bring Alejandro back and make a couple of changes to Alejandro, because there were a couple of things that kind of needed to be refined to make him fit as well into what we were trying to do. But it felt like he would be a better fit in what we're trying to accomplish individually and collectively throughout this story that we're telling. So that was sort of the decision that we made is, this seems to fit better with what we're wanting and what we're expecting. And instead of trying to force it to happen, or having to change who Max was, like, in critical ways, then the easiest and best solution to, in our opinion, was, well, let's bring Alejandro back. We already know him. Like, we've got this cool opportunity. Mimsy has a really awesome opportunity to showcase him in a completely different way and have that chance of a, like you said, Nikolai, a redemption arc. And we get to kind of see all of that unfold, which is really exciting. So, yeah, Max got kicked out because he was living in the past.
Pretty much, honestly. Like, at the end
that was
of the
one of
day,
the biggest
like,
things.
it just was going to be like extra hard. Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing is we felt like he wasn't relatable in the ways that we needed him to be relatable. You know what I mean? And then that puts a lot of pressure on Mimsy as a player. You know what I mean? Puts a lot of pressure on you to, like, constantly be trying to figure that out. And I can't imagine having to do that for an entire season. It sounds exhausting.
I mean, to be blunt about it, I was very close to quitting. I said that to everyone. Like, I was after 2 episodes playing Max, it was just so weird. It was just it just became a very hard pressure point at that point. I wasn't enjoying myself. And I said it flat out to Janispora and Fen that I was close, very close to quitting. Because didn't know how the hell I would fit him in.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just feel like it was a very, very different character from like what Alejandro was. The fact that, you know, like Mimsy comes from like a very different type of RPG role play. Um, and you know, like the fact that like again, both him and Steve are new to this whole world, and there's so much depth, and like if you know, it's hard to take in everything and just like flip the switch, you know what I mean? So yeah, it just like made sense for us as a group. Like we don't want like, you know, anybody to feel like they have to quit. Like that's why like um I'm very glad. I think like you could feel it at the end of the last episode, like that the energy completely changed.
Totally different.
Absolutely.
And
Alejandro showed up, and everything just was like old times on.
It was like this is how I wanted it to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which makes me happy. And it's not that there was any flaws in Max as a character. You know, it was just Max didn't fit this scenario. Doesn't mean he wouldn't have fit other scenarios. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there were certain things that we all wanted going into this season, and you know, because we discussed those beforehand of like, we want season 2 to be a lot different. We want season 2 to be more character development. We want it to be more focused on our characters as individuals, collectively as a group. We want everybody to be kind of friends with each other. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends and hang out all the time, but be friendly, have mutual respect, you know, things like that. And I could see just by watching that Nyx and Sparta were having a hard time relating to Max as characters. You know what I mean? So I was like, this is going to be really hard to achieve what we want to achieve. And it's going to continue to be hard. And a lot of that pressure was put on Mimsy, which is why he ended up feeling the way that he felt after only 2 episodes and literally wanting to kind of throw in the towel and be like, I can't do this kind of thing. And we were like, wait a minute. Like, slow down. Yeah. You know, like, we can fix this. Like, we can make this work because you're not the problem. It's just this character doesn't fit into this situation and into this scenario. So, you know, and then that's like we were pinballing ideas and stuff, and we brought up Alejandro, and we were like, it's very much easy to have him just come back, and you know, the audience already knows him. Your characters have relationships with him, and it can be a cool opportunity for Mimsy to create a really cool story and play a character that he is comfortable playing and he is happy playing, you know what I mean? So it sort of worked. Yeah. And I'm happy that, you know, it all worked out in the end, and I'm happy that Alejandro's back, and I'm actually really excited to see, because I won't go into too many details of what we talked about because I want things to be a surprise to you guys as watching, but like some of the ideas that we talked about when we were having this discussion, I'm like, this is a beautiful fucking story you could tell here with this character, and like these are the type of stories that I want to tell all the time as a creator, as a writer, and I'm like, this is the type of shit that I strive for. So, you know, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens.
Excited. I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah.
Because again, we saw this like outcast that wanted to be the lone wolf, that didn't want to fit in, that wanted like extreme independence, and like, you know, like now he's back like with something that changed, and we're gonna see that change develop in real time. So like I'm fucking excited to see, and honestly like to have the opportunity to like bond with Alejandro as Nyx, like in a very different way, you know what I mean? Like I know that he's a difficult one, but I feel like, you know, it's going to be fun to like build that bridge with him now that he's like settling in the city and settling into the Camarilla and like all of the stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be a cool story. I can't believe you, Ivy. I'm disappointed.
Ivy, no.
You're only allowed to give me those kind of ideas, okay? You're not allowed to give them those kind of ideas. But with how the pitches ended, it's not a good idea.
No.
I mean,
No.
it
wouldn't be convenient, guys.
The parrots
like,
can be contained.
Like, the parrot, like, on his shoulder, like, walking around. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, this guy is already, like, no. Nope.
Maybe he just leaves the parrot at his house, and we only see it every now and then.
Yeah.
The parrot's gonna tell one too many riddles and get strangled.
Uh-huh.
That one looks tasty. Girl! It just says crude jokes all the time. That's the only thing it knows is like crude jokes and insulting people. That would be kind of funny, not gonna lie. He just has this parrot that insults people all the time and says everything he's thinking.
That would be hilarious.
Yes, yes. Sparta teaches the parrot to just say caw, caw.
Get fucked, mate. Every time Alejandro says like something sassy or punches somebody, here's a little parrot. Get fucked, mate. Finish him. I can see his parrot knowing that just from Mortal Kombat. All of a sudden his parrot just yells, finish him.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be so fucking funny.
Okay.
There we go.
I think like one of the biggest differences that you will eventually see is from Alejandro in the past is that lone wolf transition, and he did touch up on that briefly when it came to you know, from him being bonded to Lindsay and that realization that no one actually saw the difference in him, and now he doesn't really, you know, second Gelsney feel that alone because he has people who's like him, not only Colette.
Aubrey.
I know. I'm interested in that relationship too.
I'm interested in finding out what the fuck Aubrey did.
Of course.
Right?
Because like the whole, if we're gonna touch on the whole thing, obviously Jenna's not gonna reveal why yet. But for Alejandro's mind is like, why the fuck are you kissing my ass like this?
Yeah, he already has trust issues, and then there's somebody that is extremely fucking nice to him, and like in a very awkward way.
He's like, wait a minute. Fuck? I love how he's like, I'm not special. You don't have to kiss my ass and blah blah blah. And she's like, oh, but I do. Like, you don't even fucking understand. And like, and then she's like, I refuse to let Colette continue to have this power over me. And then you ruined it.
Love her too. Love that character.
Yeah, Aubrey's pretty cool.
Love her.
I think it's gonna be fun to see how Alejandro sort of starts to mingle with these other Bruja and kind of get to know them and create friendships with them and things.
Yeah.
I think that'll definitely be interesting. Because the kind of picture with them of what I wanted to create of like how they are is they literally just kind of like chill. They're just like always in chill mode. at like Aubrey's bar. That's like the hot spot for like all of the Brujas to come and hang out, and they're all like friends with each other.
Yeah, it makes sense actually in the lore. A lot of like
Yeah.
cities that have Brujas like have a place like that where like they all like go and like kind of like
Mingle.
be together.
That's where they spend their nights.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll probably be seeing more of Aubrey. And that's sort of how I wanted to set it up. I wanted to set it up with like, this is the place that all of the Brujas go. Even like Colette, you know, even though she's the sheriff, she still hangs out with all these people. She's friends with them, you know what I mean? And you saw a little bit of that with like her interaction with Aubrey. Okay, you guys continue. I gotta yell at my cat. I'll be right back.
Yeah, she definitely did like a whole joking manner with Aubrey, you know, clapped her on the back. She's like, yeah, you owe me a favor. But it was like in a joking manner.
Mm-hmm.
But not.
So
but not
at the same time.
Interesting,
but not at the same time. It kind of like, I want to like,
why.
Yeah, I want to know like the relationship between the two. Like,
True.
because also like one thing that we haven't touched upon and that I was thinking about the other day, like after our RP, like yesterday actually. While I was like chilling and whatever. I was thinking that we don't know like how like Colette brought in like these Brujas. Where are they coming from? Where are the story?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they there? You know? Because again, like we know that in the lore, you like Brujas are kind of like not necessarily interested in being part of the, you know, tradition of the Camarilla.
What connection do they have to Colette's backstory?
Exactly. Or like in any form, like with, you know, anything. So like it's going to be interesting to discover that too, because like you, Memzi, have a character that has probably a similar past to all these other Brujas that came through the city and decided to make this city their own home, you know? So that's going to be fun because again, like there were no Brujas before apart from Colette and Alejandro.
True.
So like how the fuck do we have like a whole Bruja territory now?
And they're the second largest clan in the city now too.
Yeah. Like where the fuck are they coming from? Like I
get one, get all.
And again, like of course, like I love breaking the stereotypes of like clans. That's why like I created Nyx as she is. Like she's very adaptable and whatever. She has extreme like toreador tendencies, but still like she can enjoy like some rough housing and parkouring and like throwing blades and like being badass and like asserting dominance and like, you know, like being in command of whatever.
Yep.
But obviously because of the stereotypes, like Brujas and toreadors don't necessarily like, you know, are like mingling. But again, like Colette is with a toreador. So how is the relationship between like Nyx and the Brujas? And I feel like as you, Steve, your character Sparta, like lives in the Bruja territory. Like you probably have like some contacts already with it. So I would be around that area with you if we hang out together, especially like because during those 2 years, like we didn't have like my club just opened. So we didn't have necessarily another place to go to. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I figured that's why I played it when I stole the keys. I was like, don't worry, I'll make it up to Aubrey later and I was like, bye Aubrey, because I figured since he lived in there he would know Aubrey.
Yeah.
Be on at least some sort of terms with her, especially since he was working so closely with Colette. So I was like, yeah, I wrecked her car, but I'll make it up to her later.
Yeah. We were I was commenting that I was thinking about the fact that like we didn't have any Bruja in apart from Colette and Alejandro. And because we have Alejandro now that can like give us like a little insight with his personal interactions, how the fuck did Colette bring these people? Where did she find them? Like, how did they get there? Like, I was pondering about this. Like, I was like, okay, we have like this whole new territory, and it's the second largest one now. Like, where the fuck are these all motherfuckers coming from? Like, how, like, where did she know them? Like, probably because, like, you know,
she would only want
don't
specific
know
types of Brujas to come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I did touch on it a teeny. Whenever Alejandro was talking with Aubrey and was like, so how long have you lived here and blah blah blah, and she was like, about 1.5 years. Like, my friend goes way back with Colette. So what you're gonna see very quickly with the Brujas that are like in this city is that they are very well connected with each other. And they're a lot like kind of how the gang girl are, but a little bit on a wider.
Like a gang.
Yeah, it's like, these are my
like
people.
A motorcycle gang.
Yeah. So
Literally.
a lot of the people that did come, it's just through personal relationships with Colette, and then they brought friends with them, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So like the whole group with Aubrey, which I envisioned them being like at least like 8 to 10 people. That's like Aubrey's kind of crew. They all came because of one person that Colette knew. So you see what I mean? Like, and then they were all like, well, these are who we hang with and like kind of do everything with. So they all sort of like migrated to New Orleans with them, or with that person. So they're all like pretty well connected as a group. And like good friends, you know what I mean? They all sort of like get along with each other. But there are going to be like 3 main sort of like, I don't want to call them cliques, because it's not that they don't get along with each other, you know what I mean? But it's like there's these 3 distinctive groups of Brujas that all sort of migrated there because of Colette and through relationships with her. And Aubrey's group is one of them.
Yeah, and that's what I figured, because again, like, because of what happened in the city, like, Catalina wouldn't allow just random randos. Fucking, like, especially Brujas that honestly, like, usually are not interested in the Camarilla institutions and traditions. So I was like, there's probably more story to that, and like we get to see it and experience it because Alejandro is back. So like I was like, this is also another exciting thing that I'm looking forward to like see. And so I was like, well, I probably like as Nyx, because she hangs out with Sparta all the time. She probably like has been there. And I was like, yeah, you know, like usually Toreadores and Brujas, because they're very kind of like, they're different. But then I was like, well, Colette is with a fucking Toreador, so they probably like wouldn't have too many like problems with Nyx, even because Nyx doesn't give a fuck. She just comes in, she owns it, and she's like, hi, I'm cute. You cannot not like me. I'm sorry. That's kind of her like literally that's how she carries herself.
No,
and it works
throughout.
I definitely see Nyx. The nice thing about Nyx that makes her a different Toreador than a lot of other Toreadors is that she can fit in with anyone. And she tries to fit in with anyone. Like, she's still very much herself in all of, like, no matter who she's around. But you can tell that she does sort of, like, take on, like, the fact that she wanted to wear a leather jacket because she knew she was going to see the Brujas. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, little things like that is that it's like she does her best to fit into whatever situation she's bringing herself to. So she's not like Ashley. That's just Ashley 24/7. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they probably don't necessarily get along with Ashley. And they probably think Ashley's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily see them looking at Nyx in that same way. Maybe just like as like a first impression, be like, oh, here's this like another little Toreador bitch princess.
My God, there we go.
Yeah. But obviously with time, like as they get to know Nyx, they would realize that she's not really like that. So
yeah. I mean, if she can walk into a gathering of gangrels and be like, hi, how are you guys doing? It's been like a year and a half or something. How have you been? And they're like, okay, we're going to go now. And she's like, okay, bye. You know.
Goodness. Good
I love
Nyx.
it.
But no, I think, yeah, obviously Toreador and Brujas are a lot different. In a lot of ways.
But I kind of also like explain it as like she doesn't have a sire. She wasn't groomed to be like a straight up Toreador either. Like she comes from a background where she needs to be adaptable. That's like what kept her afloat, and that's what like eventually brought her to stardom, like the 2 years prior, like of her embrace. So like it just makes sense that would be her personality, to like be extra careful, to like really take in like the surroundings and really try to like build networking with everybody. Like, you know, that like social media and like stars, it's all about networking and like how many people you know. It's true.
No, it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what makes her so different, is just her experience in her human life, and then how she was brought into the kindred world. It was just different. I mean, had we done it differently, where she was sort of groomed underneath Isaiah, I feel like she would be a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But, you know, that's kind of the beauty of how everything happened, is it makes her a little bit more unique and stand out and be a Toreador that has a little bit of a different approach to life.
Different type of flair.
Yeah, because she still very much ticks all of the boxes of a Toreador.
Oh yeah, she's very Toreador.
She's just not like Ashley, you know.
Nope.
But then you have characters like Penelope, who's not like Ashley either, but she's still very much a Toreador as well. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like, that's the thing, is like it's like a spectrum. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to be this way. Like that's boring. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I was commenting that like I love breaking the stereotypes of like the clans.
Yeah.
And still make it work, where like, yeah, you can totally see how, like you were saying, like it checks all the boxes, but it breaks the stereotype.
Yeah.
And like I've seen people commenting on that before in chat too, during the RP. Yeah. They're like, oh, it's kind of refreshing to see like a Toreador that is different. And I'm like, well, that's what makes it fun. Yeah. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more fun.
If everybody played all of these clans exactly the same, we would just have carbon copies of the same character with different names. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not fun. Obviously, I do like for there to be like characters, and I try to do it on my end with some of the characters that I portray, of being like very stereotypical to that clan, like Ashley. Very extreme, like Toreador, like vibes to the max, but obviously there's a lot of other characters that aren't like that, and that's what makes it kind of fun. You know, you have characters like Colette, who's a Bruja that is a sheriff in a Camarilla city dating a Toreador.
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute. How does what? Like that, but she still like feels like a Bruja. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it's just, I think when you can find that balance in a character, that's what's fun to see. A balance like with a character like Nyx or Colette, who steps outside of those hard, you know, this is who you are because you're this clan, and you can still portray that in ways in your character and at the like the core of who they are, but then you can have that creative freedom to make them something completely different as well, and you do both simultaneously, then that's really fun to see. And I see that with Nyx 100%. You know, without a doubt, I wouldn't question that she's a Toreador, but she also is not like a Toreador in a lot of ways too.
No, I like that she's like she's just sireless again. Like she's just different from everything that like I created before. Like, and I feel like usually, because especially in the Camarilla, like we were discussing like a while back, but like we touched on this on our like post conversations after like sessions and stuff. But Camarilla usually doesn't just like take in goals like Kindred.
No.
They just don't do it that way. Like they usually like keep a goal for a while, like the goal like gets used to the world, understands everything, and then maybe they like decide to like sire somebody. But it's not a usual thing. So like the process, it's like, of grooming is long.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
And she was just thrown in there, and now she doesn't even have her sire. So
she killed him.
Like,
plot twist.
I did. I did talk to Sean. I rated him the other day, and I asked him if he wanted to like text RP with us. So like we should create a little thing and have that, and then post it.
Yeah. We can do that.
But
sure.
yeah, I killed him.
Bye, Ivy.
Okay, Ivy.
What was
so yeah, I killed him. If you guys want to see it, like the episode where you see the whole like Lindsay and like Isaiah kind of like wrapping up of that story, go check out our YouTube. It's a great episode. Like Sean that played Isaiah, like
killed it.
Oh my god, he was
perfect.
So good. He was so good.
And Tiger
like,
played
really,
Lindsay fucking amazing as well.
Yeah. No,
they both like really encompass those characters, and I was like,
both of them.
How?
Both of them. But like, you know, like Isaiah, it's like a challenging. I feel like Lindsay, you can conjure up like that fucking badass bitch. Like for Isaiah, like you need to like be in this like maniacal, delusional, like cultist, like freaking extremist like point of view, and make it like relatable,
believable,
and
convincing. And like, guys, like seriously, like go check it out, because it's like so really freaking good. And after that, the decision was that Nyx would have had the pleasure of finishing him. So that is going to show up soon, because I am excited to just like have that done by us three, rather than just like, you know, deciding that is it.
So that's what happened. Yeah.
It
makes sense. And if I would have planned it better, I probably would have added an additional section where we actually role played that out, but it was kind of like a last minute sort of decision on my part. So I was like, it's not really time to coordinate all this shit. So there was something I was gonna touch on before my cats distracted me. Oh, I wanted to talk about how whenever I was like, Aubrey, and you were like, no, I think you just challenged me there, my friend.
Oh God.
I think Aubrey's might be taking a liking to Alejandro just because you seemed opposed to that.
I love that.
She's just gonna show up at his house and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
So, what are we doing tonight?
What are we doing? Where are we going? What's on the agenda?
Like, it starts because she's forced, and then like she kind of like starts liking him.
Yeah.
You know?
She's like, oh,
I love that for
minute.
him. I love that for him.
So there might be some fun and interesting things on the horizon with
so
Aubrey.
Yes.
Just because you should never tell your storyteller that you're opposed to something happening because that's just means for cruel and unusual punishment on my part.
Suicide.
Yes.
Character suicide. Literally.
So that should be fun. That's something to look forward to. And no, on a different note though, like I did mention, I am excited to kind of see how Alejandro fits in with all of these other Brujas and how this little like kind of change of heart, so to speak, that he's had in the sense of like, I shouldn't do everything alone. I'm not expecting that to kind of go away overnight. But like how that develops and how he creates these friendships and relationships with all of these other Bruja in town, because I feel like those will probably be the first people that, other than like Nyx, Colette, and Sparta, who he already knows, but like outside of them, I feel like he would go straight to the other kind of Brujas to make friends, you know.
It would make sense.
Yeah, he's people's.
Yeah, I don't really see him venturing outside of that too much.
I'm honestly excited for Nyx to make friends with Alejandro. Like, and Mems is like, oh my god.
Because they always bumped heads.
Murder me.
I mean, there won't be bumping heads, but there's definitely going to be like that.
Well, there's going to be like friendly
teasing.
banter. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, brother and sister teasing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, yeah, Sparta is like the older, calm, like brother that is so funny. Like even though he's not reasonable almost at all ever, like he's reasonable like with us. Like he's the voice of reason amongst like me and Alejandro.
Yeah, pretty much.
He kind of like steps back a little bit and kind of observes and then like steps in if needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
It's like, okay, you guys are going to get us in trouble. Yeah, okay. Mom and dad are going to get pissed. Cut it out.
Enough. Yeah, exactly. Like, come on. Enough. And like now that again.
On the troublemaking side.
Well, I mean, but that's just fun, right? At the same time, like, I feel like Steve, like Sparta at the end of the day, like he's kind of like the older brother that is like, kids, like please, like I'm like fucking tired of this shit. Like stop it. Like
go to your room.
Like calm the fuck down, you know. Like but you did it first. You know.
He took my toy.
Yeah, I think we touched on that last season of how we were like, Colette and Sparta are the mom and dad, and Nyx and Alejandro are like the kids. And like that's sort of, I feel like that was like every time we were in a car, that was the dynamic of like Nyx and Alejandro annoying each other.
Like,
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like that annoying brother sister dynamic. Yeah. And then you have like Sparta and Colette who are just like, God, are we there yet? Like, I just want to get out of this fucking car.
Don't make me pull this car over.
But yeah, it's funny. It's funny to see the
like
dynamic.
Now that, I mean, we were like a lot at each other's throats because we both spicy. But now that there's like not that mistrust anymore, that like kind of like, who the fuck are you type of attitude, like that's what I'm looking forward to. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, sure, there's still gonna be, because both spicy, there's still going to be like banter, but it's going to be banter. You know what I mean? Like I feel like at the end of the day, we're gonna make each other laugh a lot. Just because we're like, you know, poking at each other. Like, and I'm excited for this season, honestly. I'm excited about the return of Alejandro.
Yeah, I am too. I think that it is it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to see what happens with him and where things kind of go. Speaking of laughing a lot, the way we ended our episode last week was hilarious. And I watched back, and I don't think I have seen you laugh like that or that much, Mimsy. It was so funny to like watch your face. Like you were like belly laughing. I could tell. Like we couldn't hear you, but I was like, that man is laughing because I mean, it was funny. Like I said, I don't know how I got through it all. I think the only reason I did is because we had sort of Finn and Steve were in a call one night, and I don't even know how it randomly started, but we started talking about this funny scenario of Ashley and Colette killing the birds because they get into a fight.
Was like, it was literally one of those like perfectly executed improv like scenes where like you are tossed a scenario and you just start like adding on top. So like literally each of us were just like adding on,
and then this happens, and then this happens.
It just kept going over the top.
It just kept going over the top. Like I remember like Jenna saying, what if the pigeon is inside? And I'm like, what if his shit's on top of Ash?
And then you were like, and then it goes full circle, and you're like, and then Colette's like, I think you just made it a whole lot worse. And she like does go full circle and says what Ashley said to her the night before. It was perfect. Like I wish we had that moment recorded so that they could experience like the first like round of what actually took place.
I know.
Because we were dying.
Oh my god, it was.
We were all crying at the end because we were like, "That is fucking great. We have to make that happen."
Yeah.
And then I knew that's how I was gonna end the episode because I was like, "Okay, we're wrapping up everything with Max, and these birds probably aren't gonna come around them anymore." And then I was like, it would be perfect for like the birds to like show up the next day like by accident because like they don't know yet to not go. Because, like, I'm sure it would take a few days and shit or weeks for them to, like, be trained to not go back to these locations. So I was like, this is going to be perfect. Like, they show up a couple nights later and it creates chaos in Ashley and Colette's house. And then the birds die.
Oh, it was perfect.
That was so good.
Oh, it was one of my favorite moments of the season, I think. The fucking birds. Well, we never have to deal with those things again, which in a way is a little bit sad because they were pretty entertaining. Not gonna lie, they were the cause of a lot of entertainment over the last 3 episodes.
Yeah,
yes, they were.
They've definitely made their mark on our chronicle. That's for sure. We will forever remember the Prentice and Master Ka. They will live on in our hearts forever.
Forever.
Forever, ever.
Forever and ever.
I feel like we can't ask a lot of the same questions that we would talk about in our old podcast because it's so different now. Be like, what was the most shocking moment, or what was the terrifying moment where your character was scared and things. It's just like that kind of stuff isn't happening, so we can't. It's like we can't ask those questions. I need new questions. Fuck.
Chat, help us out.
Fuck. I got more things I gotta do now. I gotta think of more podcast questions.
We concluded the night just by going home. Mm-hmm. And just relaxing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, are we just gonna like start from the next night, or are we gonna skip a few nights?
Do you know? I don't know.
Like, what were you thinking?
I just kind of have been being really relaxed with that because I don't want to feel like we have to like always pick up right where we left off, and it gives you guys the freedoms to do shit outside of what we're recording. You know what I mean? If you guys want to do text RP, there's opportunities and things like that, because I think the reason that I want to do that is because if we go so like moment to moment, day to day, hour to hour, then it like is really hard to develop some things. Like for instance, the shit that's going on with Adelaide. Adelaide lives across the fucking country. You know what I mean? She's even 3 hours behind the time, if you really think about it, than like what's her face is. So it's like you're waking up. You already wake up earlier than her because you're younger. But then also wait a minute. Does that per generation though? Because
I don't know.
Nyx actually is not younger than Adelaide. Anyway, we'll squirrel moment.
I mean, you gotta like.
But whatever.
Yeah, you'll let me know.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But regardless, the sun is going down 3 hours for you before Adelaide. You know what I mean? So it's like things are different. You know, it's like it's hard to develop stuff like that if we go so like moment to moment. It doesn't give you like the freedom to be like, I want to role play these things and create sort of this backstory that doesn't always have to be like us playing out everything moment by moment. You know what I mean? And it gives you the chance to create more depth faster, you know? Like be like, oh, okay, we skipped 3 days. It's been 3 days. Well, in those 3 days, you know, Nyx went to see Adelaide, but that's not something that we have to like always show. You know what I mean? But it gives you the chance to create those moments. It gives, obviously, the rest of you too, gives you the chance to do shit with Lizzie, do shit with Leo, you know what I mean? And these are things that you can be thinking of that we can showcase in different ways. Like, for instance, if, let's say, we skip 3 days, and in those 3 days, Nyx went to Portland and visited Adelaide, but that's something that happened in between sessions, but you get to showcase that in the way of, like, you're going to talk with Ashley, or you're going to talk about it with Sparta. You know what I mean? And be like, oh my God, this is what we did. And like, you know what I mean? So it doesn't always have to be things that we are role playing out live. It can be stuff that we do together through text RP or whatever, and then we can showcase it in a different way. So that's why I've just been relaxed with how much time is passing, because it's more fun, I think. And once we get even more settled into like how we're doing things now, that'll start happening more naturally. You know what I mean? We can go into an episode where you guys know that maybe it's been a handful of days. Okay, well, what was my character doing in that time frame? What, you know, what were they, where did they go? Who were they hanging out with? What kind of little nugget of information do I want to throw out there? Because I'm giving you guys those moments of being like, well, what has Nyx been up to for the last few days? And how do you want to show us what she's been up to? That's up to you. Without having to like go day by day, second by second, and role play everything out live. It leaves freedom for kind of the imagination and creativity of, you know, even if it's like something that we didn't role play and you're like, yeah, Nyx went here and did this with Adelaide, and I'm like, okay, sure, you know what I mean, like whatever, I can roll with it. Or same with like Aubrey with Aubrey's on the mind with Alejandro and him doing things, you know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be something that you plan with me. It can even be something like, oh, well, he went off and did this, or she did that, or whatever, you know what I mean? So with the next episode, I don't know, it'll probably be a couple of days. Like, that's kind of how I've been doing it. The only time we didn't do that was this episode, because we needed it to actually know the last. Oh, one of them was split. That's why, because we started out with middle of the night. But this episode, we needed it to be the next night because of Chris. Whereas, like, this one, it's like, if a couple of days go by, it doesn't really matter. And then you guys can decide what your characters sort of have been up to in that time frame. Because that's the thing is, like, work-wise, in the sense of you guys as a coterie, things are really chill right now. Like, yeah, you're investigating this shit with the purists, but it's not like it's crunch time. We have to work every moment of every day, you know. Like, that might be how Colette's living her life because she's the fucking sheriff, but you guys just do shit when Colette tells you to do shit. Like, you know, it's a lot more relaxed. So yeah, it'll probably be a couple of days have gone by. So you guys can get prepared over the next week of, you know, if you want to do text RP stuff with each other or with me, or just have a plan in your mind of like, this is what my character was doing for the last couple of days. And then you can tell us in certain ways, not just tell us, but like role play it out. Like I said, with scenarios of like Nyx gossiping, so to speak, with Ashley, or gossiping with Sparta and being like, oh my God, like this happened. And you know what I mean? And that's a chance to role play it without role playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not just be like, oh yeah, that happened. Cool. You know, like, done. One sentence, move on. Like, you can play around with it and make it like a little bit more fun and kind of creative. But yeah, that's the challenge this season, is for a lot of what we're doing.
Because like I was already thinking, I was like, okay, like we're not, like I already like gathered that information. Like I was like thinking like what would Nyx do, but like at this point, like I definitely, we need to RP that call, because if it's past, like if it's going to be a kind of chill thing, because like the only thing she needs to do, it's like in 2-3 days, like 2-3 nights, is like to wait for Scarlet to be okay. So then like we can role play that, like, you know, when we come back or whatever. She's healed. It's been like 3 nights or whatever. The 4th night she goes there and like she's fine, and she's lucid enough to, you know, understand and be there completely. So it was like, well, what is she going to do for 3 nights though? And I was like, well, if she talks to Adelaide, maybe she can go like a few nights and then come back the next.
Little trippy,
you know?
Ooh.
Like, you know, I was like, why not? And so I was thinking like how like that would be like, but I guess like, you can just like talk about it and play it out.
Yeah. And that's what I mean, is like there's stuff. The nice thing about doing that is it gives you guys the chance to kind of do stuff off stream, you know, and plan things out. And it can even be stuff that like, you know, is surprises to each other, because you don't necessarily know if somebody's role playing something with me and then we go into the episode and then Sparta brings it up with Nyx or Alejandro and tells him about this stuff that they were doing, but that was like actual RP that me and him did. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's fun. It creates like fun little opportunities. And then it doesn't feel like your character is missing things, or like, you know, like I don't want to skip days and then just be like, well, there's 3 days worth of like content gone that my character could have been doing cool things, you know? So it kind of allows you to do that as well. You just kind of got to be creative with how you introduce it in the actual live role play. But there's, I mean, you guys, there's all kinds of ways to do that. And you've already done it with certain things, like with the whole Lizzie thing.
Yeah.
You know, and Sparta telling everybody about what happened and things like that. So, yeah, it'll be fun to have those moments. And it's fun because we have the Text RP channel in the Discord. That everyone can still kind of feel like they're a part of it.
Like these interactions, you know? Though, like that are like, you know, whatever, maybe we can put them in after.
That makes sense. Episode. Yeah, like we did with Sparta's.
Yeah, exactly.
Where
it was like later on.
Yeah, where it wasn't. It was something that we like copy and pasted in later.
Yep.
Yeah.
That way it didn't spoil anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Leaves some room for some excitement later.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But yeah, all right. Any closing comments as we sort of wrap everything up for this discussion episode?
Can't wait for this Saturday.
Yeah, I can't wait for this Saturday. I'm super fucking excited. And yeah, now that like you told me that there's like a few nights that we can use like to like do other things, like I'm fucking yes.
Yep.
Like I'm going to bring next to Portland.
I've got some ideas rolling around in my head, and
it's going to be
I got some ideas rolling around in my head too. Coming for you, Mimsy. Next 3 days are gonna.
Yeet.
He's like, peace.
Nope.
No, I usually wait for you guys to initiate these moments. It's not. I put you guys through enough during the episodes. I don't need to bother you during the week with extra stuff. Be like, ooh, I'm bored. Let me roleplay this.
I wouldn't mind if you wanted that because, like, I feel like you get to like, play a little bit too.
True.
And I think like it's fun.
Very true.
Like if you ever like feel like, oh fuck, like I have like something
like an idea
that could introduce, like do it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are open to that because there are some times where I like have thought like, that would be like an interesting thing to like introduce, but we didn't necessarily have time to do it in the role play. So I mean, if you guys are down for that,
Open.
I love me some text RP. I can get out of control with text RP because it's like writing a whole damn story. My text RP is like 2 pages. You've seen it.
It was 7 pages with me and Sparta, like you and Sparta.
Yeah, that's all of it. But I mean, like one post will be like 2 massive posts because I get really creative.
I started with text RP like that, like forum based.
Yeah,
where,
I
like,
love
you
text
would
RP.
write an action and just wait for the other person to answer, and like it would just be a back and forth. Yeah.
Do love me some text RP. I did it for a long time with my GTA character, and I think that's why I knew her so well, is because I was role playing her live, but then I was also doing all of this text RP kind of like when I wasn't in the server. And it created like so much more depth to her. So I just like knew everything about her.
It's definitely helped me get to know Sparta a lot better. Like, help fill him out, and it ended up taking turns where I wasn't expecting to go, and started focusing on stuff for the actual RP as well.
Yeah, it's a nice way to sort of develop a character. So, anyway, well. You guys have that to look forward to. Some stuff that we'll probably be posting in that section of the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, go ahead and hop on in there. But yeah, I think we'll wrap up for today. You can join us this weekend for episode 4, where there will be lots of new and fun, exciting shenanigans. Now, especially that Alejandro is back. Kind of see what's going down with him and where things go with our group. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like we're kind of settling into our groove of what we want for the season, and it's really exciting to see. So, we are going to raid some lovely people as always and share the vampire love. So if you would stick around and join us for the raid, say hello, give them a follow if you feel you want to. We'll go say hello. This is the Nerd Asylum. They this is their season 2 premiere, so that's kind of exciting.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I don't think I've ever seen their campaign, but I like their setup and they look like cool people. So let's go say hello to them, show them some love. And we'll see you guys on Saturday for some more fun.
Hell yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Mwah.
Adios.